Welcome back to Shadow to Soul. I'm Darshni, a regression therapist and a soul guide. On this podcast, I share real stories from my work, stories that show how our earliest experiences shape the way we see ourselves and how perceptions continue to influence our lives. This episode is about one of my earlier clients, and it's about confidence, where it begins, and how something formed very early in life can stay with us, quietly shaping how we navigate the world. Deepa came to see me with one pressing concern. She found she deeply lacked self confidence, and it showed up in many ways in life. She was 62 years old, she'd lived a full life, but this feeling of lack of confidence was always present. This lack of confidence had followed her across different areas of her life. And when she spoke about it, she said she had always felt this way as long as she could remember. So we began by exploring where this could have all started. As we moved into the session, I put her in a trance, and her attention and awareness moved inward. She found herself in a classroom. She was 6 years old. The teacher was strict, very harsh in the way she spoke. Deepa found that she couldn't keep up. She noticed all the other children understood, but she didn't. She saw the other children moving ahead, and she found herself stuck. The teacher didn't make time for her and told her that she was being stupid. Deepa felt like she was nothing, she wasn't worth it, and she felt that she can't do anything. Her awareness then took her to her 3-year-old self. She landed in a moment where there was chaos everywhere. Her grandfather was sick. Her grandmother was taking care of him. Her father was there, and she found that she was very angry with him, and she felt scared. She said, I don't know what's going to happen. There's no place for me. No one is interested in me or what I want. From here, her awareness took her to when she was a year and a half old. She was lying in bed in the corner watching everything. There was chaos, people moving around. She felt she couldn't say anything. She felt she couldn't do anything. She felt suffocated, trapped. She could see her brother, he was crying, and she felt she wanted him to do something, but he didn't, or he couldn't. She felt she couldn't do anything either. She felt she had no confidence. Then she went to a few months before this. She felt confused. Everything was scattered. Her parents were fighting. And she noticed her grandfather was unwell again. She felt no one saw her. She felt lost. She felt unimportant, and she felt invisible. And then from here, her awareness took her into a moment where she couldn't really see anything. Through encouragement, she recognized that she was in the birth canal. She was about to be born. And she said, it's scary coming out. She noticed her mother didn't feel good, and she could feel it herself. She said, I don't know where I'm going. I feel insecure. I don't feel safe. And then she said she could see her father. She didn't feel anything from him. She didn't feel an emotional connection. She recognized that he was drunk and he was holding her. She felt cold. uncovered because she had just been born. There was no cloth over her. And she felt completely alone and insecure. As we move through each of these stages of childhood, she understood something clearly. At 6 years old, she could see where the feeling had taken shape. The powerlessness, the feeling of not being heard or understood. That experience had led her to feel unworthy. She didn't feel safe enough to ask for help, and so she didn't feel confident enough to ask for it. She didn't feel confident in asking for more time to finish her work. From the space of the adult, with the awareness and wisdom that she had, she was able to meet that 6-year-old child with compassion. She created the space for that 6-year-old child to address and say what she needed to say to that teacher. She was able to do this without fear and without the weight of the teacher's authority. This gave her the power to say all that she hadn't been able to say then. And in doing that, the energy of feeling powerless, of lacking confidence to speak, of fear started to lift. She did an energy exchange with the teacher. She returned what did not belong to her. The fear that the experience created, the powerlessness that the experience created, and the lack of confidence. She was able to release that and take back her own resources, her own power, her own confidence, her worth, and her voice, the ability to speak. As we move through the earlier years, the process continued. The adult created the same safe space for the 3-year-old, space to be heard, space to be seen. She was able to regain a sense of comfort that had been missing, a sense of security that had not been present at the time. And once again, in that space, she gathered what she had lost. At 1.5 years old, the same pattern appeared. And again, she created the same safe space for healing to happen for that 1.5-year-old. And after reclaiming back her lost resources, she then went to the very beginning, that moment of birth, coming out of the birth canal. She experienced it again, but this time, the adult Deepa held the baby that came out. She held the baby, creating a sense of warmth, a sense of safety, a sense of nurturing, a sense of being received with love, with joy. She was able to change that experience that once felt cold, uncertain, and insecure to an experience of love, security, nurturing. In energetically creating an empowered birth experience, she was fully able to release the energy charge of those feelings in that moment of birth. The feeling of insecurity, the feeling of rejection, the feeling of being cold and unwanted. Those feelings were repeated through those other years that then created her belief system, which led to her lack of confidence. The reason that she had always felt that lack of confidence was because the original imprint of that was her moment of birth. Following that session, Deepa described just feeling different. Over a course of a couple of months, she found herself doing things differently. She found she was carrying herself differently. She found that she was able to speak up where once she couldn't. And she found that she was more connected to her own talents and abilities. She felt a sense of strength that she hadn't previously experienced. And she recognized that she was able to take control of her own life. This experience shows that nothing we experience, nothing we perceive is ever lost. Everything gets stored in the subconscious mind, whether we consciously recall it or not. When something is felt repeatedly, it becomes the way we see ourselves. It becomes a belief system. Not because it's true, but because we experienced it that way. The resource of confidence stems from early childhood, stems from how secure we feel, how we are accepted, and how we're received. If in childhood you're able to speak freely, you're able to voice your concerns, your needs, your wants, it creates a confidence that you are held. Confidence is a resource that forms, and it is something that can be rebuilt if necessary. If this episode resonated with you, stay on this journey with me. There is always more to understand beneath the surface. Follow this podcast so you don't miss what comes next. Thank you for being here with me. Until next time, from shadow to soul.